today is day 2. Welcome to the startup vlog. Startup vlog, startup vlog. This is my startup vlog. And this is I called this vlog my startup vlog, and I'm going to be vlogging for 365 days. But basically, I'm going to be focusing more on my work stuff. And as an entrepreneur, my work stuff is basically my life. So there's no separation. It's not like when you have a 9-to-5 job and you say, I have a 9-to-5 job, and you go to work and you come home. There's nothing like that. When you have a startup, that is your life. And that is why they always say, if you're going to have a business, you better have a business you love. Because if you don't have a business you love, you're going to be in a lot of pain because you don't have any time off. Yesterday I told you about my ideas, and now I just told you a little bit that I have a startup, you know, so I'm an entrepreneur, and this blog is going to deal with that. I live in Munich, Germany, and that's where my company is. I own a lot of domain names. I own over 200 domain names, and so I'm trying to get those organized. And that's part of my goals for 2012 or 2013. At the end of this 2012, I started getting all these emails saying, oh, this domain that you own is worth this much. This domain that you own is worth this much. And I'm like, what are they talking about? They're all projects that I'm planning on developing, but I haven't done anything with. And I've left them just on the name server. I haven't done anything with them. But after I started getting these emails saying, oh, your domains are worth this much, I thought, oh, I should do something with them if they're worth that much. And I actually contacted a guy who does a lot of stuff with domain names, and he's like, oh, those emails are worth crap. He's like, don't pay attention to those. I'm like, yeah, but you know, it spurred me on to think that I should actually do something with my domain names. Okay, so what I'm doing for each of the domain names is I'm setting up the domain name, and then I'm setting up all the social media for that domain name so that I don't have to worry about it later. What I have to do then is set up the domain name, put on a WordPress blog site on there, and then I go ahead and set up an email for it, and then I go ahead and set up all of the Yahoo, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, Google, Twitter for that domain name. And so my goal is to have all of my domain names with all of this set up all neatly posted like this by the end of this year. But I have it also, I bought this box, and then I'm putting them all here in the front. So I have right now, they're all in written form, and I'm typing them in to the computer. So it's all in a database. I'm using Bento. If you know Bento, if you have an Apple computer, you probably know Bento. It's a database program. It's really nice for organizing. So that's how I'm organizing the domains, and those are all ideas. You know, and there's a reason I bought them. I'm not a domain buyer, so I'm not one of these people who buys it on speculation. So I guess I'm the other person. I'm the other type of domain name buyer. I have an idea and I buy a domain name. So it's sort of the same way. There's a publisher who says you put a domain name, you put an idea in a box and then put it away until you're ready to do it. Well, I put the idea in the name of a domain name, and then I put it aside and wait until I'm ready to use it. It's just a little bit different, but for me, it's a fun thing, and that's something that I do, and it's really geeky, you know. And then I've started doing research into domain names, into the monetization of domain names, because that's not something that I've ever paid any attention to. I always purchase them for a project. And it's funny because these guys are like, oh, if you really want to monetize a domain name, you should put a business to it. I'm like, oh God, that's exactly what I'm doing. And so I'm just looking at it from a different perspective, right? So, okay, so I think what I'm going to do at the end of my vlog is I'm going to give you a little bit of information about myself. Not just always talking about like business, but just a tiny little morsel of myself, so that in case you've come this far, you have a little bit about me. I am a dual citizen of the US and Germany. So even though I don't have a German accent, I'm German. And it's really funny because I go places, and recently I've been going into stores and people are talking to me in English, and I talk to them in German, and then they talk to me in English, and then they get confused, and then they don't know what to talk to me in. And I've been finding that really funny because there's a lot of tourists here recently, and people are just used to switching to English so that the tourist feels more comfortable. But I want to speak German because all my work is in English, so I usually talk to them in German. I have to now edit because I made this too long, and I have a habit of doing that. Bye! See you tomorrow.